have sacked Erik ten Hag as Manchester United manager and replaced him with Ruud van Nistelrooy to come in to the helm at Manchester United. And we are doing this on EAFC 25's brand new career mode. Manchester United currently sitting at 11th in the Premier League, but an awful start to the season and only got worse after that horrendous loss against Spurs. So today, that all changes and Ruud leads United back to treble winners. And the first thing that Ruud is doing at the club is getting rid of these awful tactics that Ten Hag continues to stick with. This build-up from the back rubbish, which United is not built on. We are built on fast, quick, counter-attacking play, using wingers and scoring goals. And I've changed the team to counteract that. Onana in goal. Mazraoui, De Ligt, Martinez and Dalot is still the back four. Luke Shaw is never fit. This is what we have got. Maino and Agate in Stone's defense midfield, Rashford on the left, Garnacho on the right, Bruno in the cam, and a proper striker up front in Rasmus Højlund. And you can see it from the tactics exactly what we are going for with the ball. Two central defenders, two central midfielders, wing backs getting forward, wingers on attack, a floating playmaker, and a striker that's getting up there and scoring the goals. Now, don't get me wrong, this Manchester United team is not perfect, and Erik ten Hag isn't completely to blame. But the quality in this team is way too much to be doing we're doing in real life currently, and I've had enough. I'm willing to change everything to get United back to the top, and I think someone like Van Nistelrooy, who knows the club inside out, would bring back them days to the club. He is on the training ground, of course, but how much say he gets, we just don't know. I think we need to make him our gaffer. Now, obviously, in terms of transfers, etc., in January, we are doing absolutely nothing. We are simply just looking to, pretty much from now on, go to January, and hopefully it's going to be a much better situation than in real life. Sadly, at the moment, the pick your date you start your career mode on isn't activated. I'm recording this on the 29th of September, and for some reason it doesn't work. I'm guessing it's coming to the game later, so we cannot start with the updated fixtures that are happening in real life, which is a bit of a shame, but we'll get on with it. We can hopefully move on, and I don't think it's going to be a one-season rebuild anyway. I think it's going to take 3 or 4 years, and we're going to look to do exactly what brand new CEO Omar Barada has said, and win the Premier League by 2028, and by 2028, ideally, I'd like to win that famous treble. Of course, we are going to build a fantastic youth system, and being United already, there is some fantastic players in this youth academy. We're going to be quite selective on who we bring up, because if we're not careful, we'll have 1,000 players in the space of 12 months. So none of these are going to get called up yet, but we are going to look to develop our youth, develop players like Lenny Yoro, like Ethan Wheatley. I want Mainu and Rasmus and Garnacho to be key parts of the team. So if you are a Manchester United fan, you're going to love this rebuild. Let's go straight forward, though, to January, where we can do some transfer business, and hopefully it's not going quite as bad as it looks like it could do in real life. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not been easy, it's not been pretty, but we are sitting inside the top 4 after 19 games on 33 points. If you double that, 38 games, 66 points, isn't fantastic. It's not probably enough, and there has been quite a few rough months before we made some tweaks where things were looking horrendous. The end of September wasn't great. We lost to Leeds in the Cup, lost to Twente, lost to Spurs. We lost every single game in October, which is horrendous. But I then realised we had to get our coaches set up, and it's been much better. We also tweaked the tactic ever so slightly, so Rashford is now an inside forward in attack, and Dalot is a wing back on balance, whereas on the right-hand side, Mazraoui sits a final bit further back, with Garnacho holding the width on that right-hand side, and it's got the best out of Rashford. As you can see, because he's now on 13 goals in 24 games and 6 assists, and Bruno's been doing very well, 11 goals, 4 assists in 29 games is fairly decent. At some point in this rebuild, I imagine I will be replacing Bruno Fernandes in that central attacking midfield role. I don't think he's the problem at all, but I am looking to not clear the club, but change the club. It's rotten. The club is in a state of disarray, and there are certain players that have been here for too long and not had success. Now, I think Bruno Fernandes is a legend. Not a legend, possibly, but he's a captain. He's been our best player for like 4 or 5 years, but still, some things have got to change, and he's not really, I'm going to say it, captain material. He's too emotional. Players then follow his leads. It is what it is. Mazraoui at right back, I think, has been a great sign in real life. He's done decent here so far. Same for De Ligt. Mainu's progressed fairly well, up to 78 rated, 16 games and 2 goals. Garnacho on that right wing, I'm actually a big fan of. 3 assists, 2 goals, 26 games. Doesn't look great, but he has now transitioned to a right midfielder and as a winger, and grown 2 overall to an 80. So I'm very, very happy with him. But up front, there's a little bit of an issue. I don't know why Rasmus Højlund is not putting the ball in the back of the net. 1 goal in 24 games is absolutely shocking, especially because it's pretty much the exact same for Xerxes as well. We've gone past him. 3 goals in 8 games. Our strikers just are not scoring goals, and I think at some point I'm going to need to bring in a superstar number 9. But for now, looking at this team, I don't want to go crazy unrealistic in the January transfer window, so I'm just going to make one main piece of business, and it is going to be an actual left back. I want to move Dalot over to right back and have a left back that can link up and overlap Rashford down the left-hand side, and that's all I want to do in January. I want to get a left back who's not constantly injured like Luke Shaw, which is heartbreaking because I think Luke is great. He's just a constant injury worry. Well, to be honest, there was only really one person I ever had in mind to come in at left back. It is Alphonso Davies. I think he'll end up potentially going to Real Madrid, but I don't think he'll stay at Bayern Munich for long. And I think if we can go in there, convince him, given that starting left back role, I don't think it's the most unrealistic thing in the world. So Alphonso Davies joins the club as Manchester United's starting left back. He looks pretty good as well, doesn't he? Let's be honest, that is nice to see. Sadly, I've got it in dollars. I obviously just messed that up when making the save. So $72 million, about 60 million quid. He's about 100 grand a week as well. I think that's a fantastic sign to come into left back and massively, massively just improves our ability to play in a true 4-2-3-1 system. He comes in there and it's just such a more balanced team. Right, I mean, that is just absolutely hilarious. We have just played our first game of January after signing Alphonso Davies, and he's got a red card. It was in 4 minutes, and I absolutely love it because it's away at Anfield. We've won 1-0 still, but Fonzie got a red in 4 minutes. What on earth? And with that signing, despite losing to Steaua Bucharest in the last game of January, we beat Liverpool, we beat Gillingham, we beat Southampton, we beat Brighton, we beat Rangers, we drew to Fulham away from home and lost that final game, which means we are still sitting in the top 4 in the Prem, which is absolutely fantastic. And in terms of the Europa League as well, we have managed to somehow not get inside the top 8. It means we're in the playoff rounds and we're up against TSG Hoffenheim. I really want to win this season. If we don't win this, I'll be absolutely gutted. We finished 22nd in the group. I very much just played a rotation side every single game, but it is what it is. We're through to the playoff round. Hopefully from here, we can just make a great run. And well, sadly, that's not the case because of course we go and lose to Hoffenheim on penalties. It's just so frustrating. Yeah. We're not going to win the Europa League. And in the FA Cup, after beating Gillingham in the 3rd round, in the 4th round, we beat Southampton. The 5th round, we beat Newcastle. The 6th round, we beat Chelsea. And in the semis, we beat Manchester City 3-0, setting up a final against West Ham United, where Nicholas Füllkrug turned on a defender, put it in the bottom corner, and West Ham United won the FA Cup. Very frustrating, as is the fact we won't have Champions League football next year due to goal difference by 2 goals. We finished on 71 points, level with Arsenal, but we finished 5th. Spurs in 2nd on 77, Liverpool in 3rd on 73, and City running away with it on 87. Hollanders smashed the Golden Boot race on 28 goals, but what it's nice to see is both Bruno and Rashford both on 20, and Bruno also on the assists here as well with 9. And in terms of clean sheets, even better to see is Onana has kept the most clean sheets. So this squad genuinely is starting to develop. We can see that, to be honest, from the calendar in the last few months. We just have played much better. And in terms of the squad, the actual progression is genuinely really good. Onana 84, Dalot 84, De Ligt 87. This is potential he certainly has in real life. Martinez 85, Davies 85, Cobby's up to a 79, Agate 84, Rashford only an 82, same as Garnacho on the right, with Bruno in the cam at 88, and Rasmus up top on 83. We've got young players here like Yelena Yoro up to a 79 now. Xerxes as a backup striker at 81 is great. Amad at 77 is disgusting, to be honest. He should be at least an 80, but it is what it is. And to be honest, we're just progressing quite well. And we have got some decent squad depth, but things have got to change. There has got to be something to change in this team for next season for us to really start to go for Champions League places and challenging for the top 4. And the board clearly agree as well, as they've given us over 300 million to go and spend this summer. And we've also already made some changes to the squad, with Lindelof departing to Sevilla and Harry Maguire leaving to Villarreal. Magaluf off to Magaluf. And well, our first piece of business is a very difficult one to imagine. Not because I don't think Nico Williams would be a simply superb signing for Manchester United, but because of how we have done the deal and a certain player who is leaving the club. I've got to say, all of this is absolutely awesome, and I hope it's going to be all worth the fanfare, because the deal we done is Marcus Rashford plus $90 million to bring Nico Williams to Manchester United. Now, Marcus Rashford at this point is a club legend at Manchester United, and it is very difficult to imagine the club without him, but he has been here for a very long time. And I think not only for Manchester United, but for Rashford, it is time for a new journey. And that's not the only absolutely massive piece of business we are doing, because we are changing goalkeeper. Diogo Costa is becoming the Manchester United #1, and I just simply don't think Onana was the right choice out of the two. At the time of signing them, Onana had just come off an unbelievable Champions League final, but I do just think Diogo Costa is the better goalkeeper, the better choice, and is just a better shot stopper. I do like Onana, I like his passion, I like his vibes, but he's a Ten Hag signing, and this is the Ruud van Nistelrooy era. Which means there's also got to be some serious departures. Number 1, Jadon Sancho. Number 2, Luke Shaw is out the door and off to Chelsea. Casemiro is also out the door to Aston Villa. Xerxes is out off to Brighton, and we've brought in Jean-Paul Van Hecke as part of a swap deal as a great 4th choice centre-back. Anthony has also gone and left the club, and that marks what is realistically a pretty big clear out of anyone that I wanted gone to really start this era off. The squad is now looking much better. We're going to bring in a few rotational players as well. And then new signings include Chris Rigg from Sunderland, Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace, Johan Bonney comes in as a backup striker to Højlund, and Malik Fofana comes in as a backup left midfielder. While none of them come in and directly impact the first team, it does mean we now have a backup 11, which I am confident of. I am going to look to bring in Joris Schottard in central defensive midfield to be the other backup central defensive midfielder. Contract issues there. We will be getting that one done. But other than that, I'm very happy with our two sides. I'm going to give Rasmus Højlund one more season to convince me he can be our star striker. Other than that, though, I am very happy with this team. I think we can easily get in the top 4 and should be qualifying for Champions League football easily and potentially challenging for a European trophy win as well. And when it's got to be said, things are going absolutely fantastic, and it's exactly what I wanted to see as well, because not only are we sitting a 3rd in the table, there is a striker who is absolutely cooking. He is top of the Premier League goal scorers charts. It is Rasmus Højlund, who has scored 25 goals in 30 games, 17 in 19 in the Premier League as well, which is brilliant. Bruno, in possibly his last season for me, is also doing great. 13 goals, 9 assists. Garnacho on the right is really improving fast as well. 7 goals, 4 assists, 85 overall now. Better than Nico Williams, who remember we just paid about £100 million for, which is ridiculous. We are going to have an unbelievable wing partnership. Interestingly, Adam Wharton has come in and effectively removed Mainu from the team. Don't worry, I am going to be doing something about that. I didn't realise that was happening. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with Wharton and Mainu in DM and maybe push Ugarte to a backup role. Fullbacks wise, we're possibly not getting as many assists as I like, but I'm not too fussed because we're defensively so good. And I'm just really happy with how things are going. A lot of players out on loan, which is great to see. And overall, the team is progressing really well. We have to check out the team management. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful. The defense is now solid. Midfield's great. We're scoring goals. We're creating chances. And that's all I can really ask for. I'm not going to be going mental on signings. I'm going to do anything in this month. We're just going to carry on going forward. And just to quickly mention the Europa League as well, we are in the top 8 this time. Currently in 7th place, 14 points. Having the squad rotation has been a massive key part in that. We ended up finishing 3rd in the end on 20 points, which means we zoomed right into the round of 16. We'll beat Galatasaray 3-2 in aggregate, and then beat Porto 4-0. Semi-finals beat Lyon 2-1, which sets up the final, which we are watching today against Lazio. And well, honestly, I'm not too sure what the point was, because the long ball forward, a flick on from Isaacson, Castellanos puts it in, and Manchester United bottle back-to-back cup finals, this time on the European stage, losing the Europa League, which is just infuriating. And while that's certainly not ideal, the one thing we do have over Erik Ten Hag is consistency. We are sitting top of the Premier League by 2 points, going into the final day of the season, knowing that if we get a point here today, away from home against Nottingham Forest, we bring back the Premier League to Old Trafford for the first time, and at this point, over 12 years. In just 12 minutes, Amin Nouri scores for Nottingham Forest, putting all of the pressure on Manchester United. But luckily, just 2 minutes later, our young gun stepped up as Garnacho found Højlund to make it 1-0, and our captain Bruno stuck it in the top stanchion for 2-1 in the first half, grabbing a commanding lead, which was only made stronger when Garnacho was put through from Nico Williams, and despite the save from Turner, he stuck the ball home in the 65th minute, and that was all she wrote. Manchester United were Premier League winners once again for the first time in what is now 14 years, which is absolutely mental. The black, white and red tassels are aloft the Premier League trophy, and captain Bruno Fernandes, before he looks to potentially depart the club, lifts the trophy above his head with Diego Costa, with Garnacho, with Dalot, a lot of the current United stars, which is absolutely fantastic to see. And what is even better, and my favourite things about FC 25 career mode, is this incredible trophy parade. Right now, there's just a Premier League trophy there, but in a few seasons' time, we're going to look to add a bunch of trophies onto the front of that bus. And it wasn't just an unbelievable season for the club, lifting the Premier League. We also had some great individual performances as well. Rasmus Højlund becoming the star striker we always knew he could is the main thing I'm absolutely buzzing with. 29 goals in 38 games. Looks like Ruud's coaching has paid off. In terms of assists, Nico Williams and Bruno Fernandes both leading the way on 10. And in terms of clean sheets, we are down in 4th. The progression this year has been simply outstanding. The squad has grown to a different level. We're in a different stratosphere at this point. I mean, it's incredible. Rasmus 41 goals, Bruno 24 and 13. Nico Williams, after me sort of having a little go at him at the start of the season, he ended up with 31 goal contributions, and Garnacho just 16, but as a 21-year-old, he is going to grow a lot as well. Agate was great up to an 87. Adam Wharton, very good as well. And mainly lots more game time in the second half of the season was influential as well. Alphonso Davies, unreal. The team is just absolutely fantastic. And I'm excited for next season, hopefully for us to absolutely go for the treble. But of course, to wrap things up, we won the league. We got to the third round of the FA Cup, quarterfinals of the FA Cup, and we come runners up in the Europa League. So certainly some improvements. But a slight oversight on my behalf is that captain, leader, legend Bruno Fernandes has left the club on a pre-contract agreement. It does, though, mean we are going to bring in a massive superstar Cam into this side. And the fact he's gone to Manchester City, it stings a lot. Yeah. A big oversight. So there was only one man I could bring to the club to replace him. The boyhood United fan, the coldest man in the world, Cole Palmer, joins Manchester United. It's safe to say this wasn't in the script. It wasn't part of the plan, but our new magical number 8, as Bruno Fernandes is now 32 years of age, I feel like it's actually quite a good time to bring him in. And obviously, he's going to be absolutely incredible. We'll ignore the fact he cost us 195 million. So after that, it was just a few backup players coming in. Milos Kerkez is number 1 to back up Davies. 20 million plus Ahmad. So we need a replacement right mid. So we brought in Edon Jagrova, the Kosovan right mid from Lille. To be a backup Cam, we brought in Ansu Fati from Barcelona. A new backup central defence midfielder is Mandela Keita. And a new backup left back in Milos Kerkez. We now have 2 squads that I can confidently say will both easily challenge the Premier League, and as a link-up can challenge for everything. The Champions League, the Premier League and the FA Cup is what we're after, and hopefully this season we can make that happen. And when I say there's room for improvement, but we are not out of the race yet. We are 8 points away from Spurs in the Premier League, and that's the whole reason I started this rebuild, because United lost to Spurs, so I need to finish it with us winning that. We did win the Community Shield, which was great. We are obviously still in the FA Cup third round. Carabao Cup, we're in the semis against Arsenal. I'm hoping we win that as well as a little added bonus. And in the Champions League, once we get there, we are currently 9th, but level on points with the top 8. So I'm sure we'll end up finishing in that top 8. It's safe to say Cole Palmer has replaced Bruno Fernandes. He is the top goal scorer in the Premier League, 16 goals and 19 assists. Rasmus is still doing bits, don't worry, 11 in 19. In terms of our assists, Nico Williams is in 7th place. And sorry, Palmer is top goal scorers, not assists. And clean sheets wise, we are joint top there as well. We are absolutely cooking. I mean, the team is beautiful. If we do get to a Champions League final, I'm going to play the game because I want to use this team. I want to use... It's just, this would be unbelievable to play with, I can't lie. So hopefully we get to a Champions League final and I get to play some game with this team. But we've got to get there first, and also we've got to win the Premier League, because this video does not end until we win the treble. And one of the best ways to start the Premier League season, then lifting a trophy, the Carabao Cup, is Manchester United's once again. And I think it's such an important trophy to win, especially when looking to get to the very top of football. Teams like Manchester City seem to win this and gain some confidence and then go on to win everything. Hopefully that is exactly what we can do here today. And you never guess where we are, an FA Cup final against Manchester City, where Bruno Fernandes is going to put on an absolute masterclass, sadly, in a City shirt, which is just completely wrong. They go 1-0 up thanks to the goal from Bruno, but Alphonso Davies finds Nico Williams to make the game 1-1 in the 23rd minute. But this was going to be a real ding-dong battle. Both Manchester sides going hammer and tongs against each other, as Bruno finds Haaland to make it 2-1 and to get City back on top. But we were going to have to try and get back on level terms, and Nico Williams was going to do a pretty good effort at that, getting it into the front post for 2-2 on the half-time whistle. But City were never done there, because Foden found eventually a gap after a ball from Bruno Fernandes to score to make it 3-2 before we come back again. The 87th minute, Rasmus Højlund finally gets his name on the score sheet in this FA Cup final, and levelling up again, and for us to come back from defeat for the 3rd time in this game. And if we wanted to win the trophy, we were going to have to do it for a 4th, as Erling Haaland scores from the spot in the 102nd minute, and Højlund was there in the 115th to make us drawing 4-4. 4 times paired back, 4 times we got the game back to being drawing, which is simply incredible. We went up to penalties next up, and Rasmus got off to a pretty good start to make it 1-0 before Bruno does his iconic hop, skip and jump to make it 1-1. We score from the spot to make it 2-1. Haaland to make it 2-2. Manuel Ugarte, I've got to say I was nervous, but he scores to make it 3-2. And when Matías Núñez should have been nervous, he misses, Garnacho scores, and if Diego Costa saves his penalty from Bernardo Silva, Manchester United champions, and of course he does. And Manchester United beat Manchester City after coming from behind 4 times in one game to win the FA Cup. It's an historic one. It's Lisandro Martinez's time to lift the trophy. And with just 1 game to go left in the season, we are currently sitting top of the table, 1 point ahead of Manchester City, away to Crystal Palace. We are also in the final of the Champions League, which is mental. We have got PSG in that one, which I will be playing myself because I want to play with this incredible team. We beat Real Madrid in the semi-finals. We beat Real Madrid in the quarterfinals, beat Arsenal in the semi-finals, and in the round of 16, beat Bayer Leverkusen. So a very, very successful second half of this season. The team is unbelievable. We just need to go 1 step further. We need to lift the Premier League by beating Palace here away from home, which secures a treble, domestic treble, with winning the EFL Cup, the FA Cup, and the Premier League. And then the win in the Champions League means we have completed not only the treble, the quadruple. Or maybe not, because in the 93rd minute, Mitrovic scores for Crystal Palace, and we end up bottling the Premier League. I actually can't believe it that has just happened. We have not won the Premier League. And we're now going to go into the Champions League. We face up against PSG, and we lose this on penalties. So it was just pretty mid-season in the end. We won the Carabao Cup, we won the FA Cup. We've got no treble. So it means there's a 4th and hopefully final season upcoming. Well, that took me about 15 minutes to simulate. I didn't make a single signing. I went to the calendar. I simulated till May. And here we are. Winners of the Carabao Cup beating Spurs in the final. Winners of the FA Cup beating Brentford in the final. Not winning the Community Shield, but absolutely smashing the Premier League on 87 points. 8 points clear of Chelsea. I cannot believe how good this team is and how good Cole Palmer is at Manchester United. I did not expect to be able to just replace Bruno Fernandes. We have absolutely blown him out of the water. 46 goals in 68 games, 16 assists, a 94 overall. Rasmus 32 and 4, Nico with 30 goal contributions, Garnacho with 20. Adam Wharton has completely kicked Manu out of the team at this point. 12 goals, 19 assists is ridiculous. I mean, this team's ridiculous. And as you can tell from the background, we're in the Champions League final as well against Napoli. So I literally have just clicked simulate and here we are. So that is absolutely mental. This team is an absolute joke. I am going to play with Mainu in this game and Agate, Garnacho, Palmer, Williams, Højlund, Davies, Martinez, De Ligt, Dalot and Costa in goal. Is now 92 rated. Yeah, I mean, Manchester United, eat your heart out. That is back-to-back a bunch of trophies playing the unbelievable attacking winger system and Cole Palmer in the cam role. Let's get into this Champions League final and see if we can get the dub. And it is Napoli who we are facing in the final as well. And I believe we're at Old Trafford, which is even better because it means we're at home and we get to do this all on our home turf. So let's go grab this trophy and finish off this rebuild with a ridiculous quadruple. Right, it is very clear that Napoli are not to be messed with, but neither are we. I mean, look at the speed of Garnacho. Look at big Rasmus in the middle. I want to see Palmer on the ball, I can't lie. Get him on it. Look, there he is. Cole Palmer. I mean, that shot is just an absolute joke. This guy is going to be incredible. This is going to be great. Garnacho on the attack, down the right-hand side. Going to go for an effort. Oh! Rasmus in the box, wins it back, finds Palmer. Cobby's on the edge with space. Ah, Cobby, he's not played much this season. Nearly scores a screamer, top bins, but puts it just wide of the mark. Osimhen on the ball, driving at the defence. Leach is there again. Dalot finds Garnacho, who is ridiculously quick, by the way, to find Palmer, who's got the speed to burst through the defence. Ref! I want to see a red. I want to see a red. Alessandro Burgrino is gone. And Palmer forces a red card. We have now got the chance as well to stick it top bins with... Oh, Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer. Ah. Ah. Kempi's coldest moments. Oh. It's unbelievable, Jeff. That's unbelievable. Cole Palmer for Manchester United steps up with that left peg like he did in real life for Chelsea just the weekend gone. Ridiculous free kick in a Champions League final. Cole Palmer. Williams find it. It's a great ball. Unbelievable ball. Rasmus, how's your pace? How's your skills? Oh, it's unbelievable. Gets on that left foot. Rasmus Højlund. It's 2-0. And the Danish Dynamite has bagged a second for United. And this quadruple, it is happening. Stop him out here, shall we? Pulisic, where are you going? Pulisic. Osimhen. Lindstrom. We're there, look. We're there. We're everywhere. It's 2-1. It's 2-1. Ignore it. Ignore it. We're going to win this game. Napoli looking like the team most likely to score next, which I don't quite know how has happened because, I mean, they've got 10 men. But there they are at 2-2. And the game has completely switched in his head. And David Neres has just scored. I mean, they've literally got two at the back. I just don't know what's happened. Into Rasmus. The two at the back has come undone, or has it? Because apparently they're the quickest centre-backs in the world. But Rasmus has got skills to pay the bills. He is unbelievable. And that is 3-2. Right, can we get one more? Can we actually get a Rasmus hat-trick? That's what I want. I want a Rasmus hat-trick. I've got a Rasmus hat-trick. Rasmus Højlund, a hat-trick in a Champions League final. And that is all she wrote. Or can we get one more? Because the rumour is Cole Palmer wants one himself as well. He wants a brace. Rasmus hat-trick, Palmer brace. Manchester United win the Champions League 5-2. Manchester United Champions League winners 5-2 in the end. Absolutely unbelievable. And look at that. The absolute dream. Manchester United back on top in world football. A treble, well, a double last season, a quadruple this season, 2 Premier League trophies, and Manchester United are back to being the best club in the world. It will happen again one day, United fans. Don't worry. Will it happen with Cole Palmer in cam and Van Nistelrooy in charge and Lisandro Martinez lifting the Champions League trophy above his head? I don't know. I certainly hope so one day. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to like the video. Subscribe to the channel for more FC24 rebuilds and Football Manager rebuilds as well. Thanks so much for watching. I'll speak to you next time. Oh, and we finally got that Trek Parade with a fantastic quadruple. What a dub.